new feedback phenomenon found to drive increasing drought and aridity, which means that we have extreme weather coming. This is by Columbia University School of Engineering and Applied Science on phys.org and Science Daily. Summary says that a new study indicates that the world will experience more frequent and more extreme drought and aridity than currently experiencing in the coming century, exacerbated by both climate change and land-atmosphere processes. The researchers demonstrate that concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity are largely driven by a series of land-atmosphere processes and feedback loops. They also found that land-atmosphere feedbacks would further intensify concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity in the warmer climate. The study was published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, PNAS. While earlier studies have looked at how atmospheric and oceanic processes drive climate extremes, the Columbia engineering team has focused on examining and modeling land-atmosphere processes, especially in setting up concurrent extremes that can be very destructive. Soil drought, represented by very low soil moisture, and atmospheric aridity, represented by very high vapor pressure deficit. The combination of high temperature and low atmospheric humidity are the two main stressors that drive widespread vegetation mortality and reduced terrestrial carbon uptake. Concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity is a time period when soil moisture is extremely low and vapor pressure deficit is extremely high. In other words, we have desert conditions. Quote, concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity have dramatic impacts on natural vegetation, agriculture, industry, and public health, end quote, says Pierre Gentin, Associate Professor of Earth Environmental Engineering and affiliated with the Earth Institute. He says future intensification of concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity would be disastrous for ecosystems and greatly impact all aspects of our lives. The researchers combined reanalysis datasets and model experiments to identify the main land-atmosphere processes leading to concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity, and used climate models and statistical methods to assess how land-atmosphere processes would impact the frequency and intensity of concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity in future climate. The challenge they faced was how to isolate the impact of land-atmosphere feedbacks on concurrent drought and aridity. After trying many different methods, they worked with the GLACE CMIP5, that's the Global Land-Atmospheric Coupling Experiment, Coupled Model Intercomparison Project. Scientists at ETH Zurich's Institute for Atmospheric and Climate Science and used their model experiments. Gentin's group is the first to isolate the phenomenon and were surprised their work produced such dramatic findings. Quote, most groups have been focused on assessing concurrent drought and heat waves, but we are finding stronger coupling between drought and aridity than between drought and heat waves. In other words, not so much the temperature, but the drought, if there's water in the soil, says Shan Zhu, the study's lead author and the postdoc working with Gentin. Quote, concurrent drought and aridity also have a stronger impact on the carbon cycle, and so we feel this was a critical point to study, end quote. The team discovered that the feedback of soil drought on the atmosphere is largely responsible for increasing the frequency and intensity of atmospheric aridity. In addition, the soil moisture precipitation feedback contributes to more frequent extreme low precipitation and soil moisture conditions in most regions. These feedback loops lead to a high probability of concurrent soil drought and extreme aridity. The CMIP5 simulation suggests that land-atmosphere feedbacks will further increase the frequency and intensity of concurrent drought and aridity in the 21st century, with potentially large human and ecological impacts. The PNAS study highlights the importance of the soil moisture variability and enabling a series of processes and feedback loops affecting the Earth's near-surface climate. The PNAS study highlights the importance of soil moisture variability in enabling a series of processes and feedback loops affecting the Earth's near-surface climate. Gentine says, "It's critical that we better qualify and evaluate the representation of these processes in our climate models. Accurate model representation of both soil moisture variability and the associated feedbacks is crucial if we are to provide reliable simulations of the frequency, duration, and intensity of compound drought and aridity events and of their changes in a warmer climate. Ultimately, this will help us mitigate future risks associated with these events." So this source story is Columbia University School of Engineering and Applied Sciences by Shan Zhu, Park Williams, Alexis Berg, Benjamin Cook. Land atmospheric feedback exacerbate concurrent soil drought and atmospheric aridity. I wanted to find what the drought conditions were recently, worldwide or in the US, and I came across this National Weather Service, NOAA. Abnormally dry conditions develop across parts of the area in Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin. And why? I mean, we've recently had so much rain, especially this year, and basically up to the middle of July. It says abnormally dry conditions develop across parts of the area. This is updated Thursday, August 29. Next scheduled Thursday, September 5th. So that's in 2 more days. It was another dry week across parts of northeast Iowa and near the Iowa border in southeast Minnesota. This has become a trend for these areas since July 1st, with precipitation deficits of 2 to 5 inches since July 1st. It's abnormally dry conditions have developed in these areas. This is the first time since late 2017, early 2018, that there has been abnormally dry conditions in these areas, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. U.S. Drought Monitor Summary. In the August 29 release of the U.S. Drought Monitor, moderate D1 drought conditions were seen across southern Iowa, northwest and east central Illinois, west central Indiana, near the Mackinac Ridge in Michigan, and northwest Indiana. Abnormally dry conditions were found across much of Iowa, northern Illinois, northeast and southeast Indiana, west central Ohio, much of Michigan. I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked. These were the areas that were flooded. I mean, they were being bombarded with rain and the cyclone type of a thing. And now we see that they're in abnormal drought conditions. How is that possible? Northeast, southwest, and north and southeast Minnesota, and a small portion of northeast Wisconsin. Note, the data cutoff for drought monitor maps is Tuesday, 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Local areas affected. Abnormally dry conditions developed across parts of northeast Iowa and near the Iowa border in southeast Minnesota. Climatology summary. Since July 1st, 2 to 5 inches precipitation deficits developed across parts of northeast Iowa near the Iowa border at southeast Minnesota. And the map shows us the precipitation deficits and surpluses during this time period. Amazing. It's mostly deficits. Fayette County, minus 5 inches. Strawberry Point, Iowa, Clayton County, minus 2.49 inches. Grand Meadow, Minnesota, Mower County, minus 2.28 inches, and so on. Austin Wastewater Treatment Facility, Minnesota, Mower County, 2.87 inches less, departure from normal. This is shocking. This is shocking. It's not just that we've had the floods wiping out the farms and production and livestock. It's also that we have abnormally dry conditions, drought conditions. I'll leave links below for you for this as well on National Weather Service Noah concerning these conditions. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.